yourself 3 points. Those of you who have listened to the show before. Those of you who haven't, sorry. And the points will matter in the end. Keep track of your points. They don't really matter. Because they could make a difference. So, a live show, what this is this will be kind of like when I usually do these episodes. Now, Dan's done an episode with me. Paul's done 2 episodes. This is Nikita's first episode with 12 and up. Nikita, have you done, I'm going to give the formal introductions to them in a minute. Have you done a podcast at all?
I have not.
So this is your first podcast. This is very exciting. Make sure to put it on your resume.
That'll be the winner, man.
Yeah, you were on a podcast. So usually I just do one-to-one conversations and we have different subtopics or sections. With a live show, it's fun because there's an extra energy knowing that people are listening to us. We try to be a little bit smarter than usual, maybe a little bit funnier. If you, like Randy said, laughing is fine, clapping is fine, yelling stuff is fine. Don't throw anything. We don't have the chicken wire set up. So please don't throw anything at us during this time. Next time we'll see if we can do this at another spot. But that's how it's going to work. In the very beginning, I'm going to just do an introduction to the show. Introduce the guests. We'll have a little bit of music. Hopefully this will go well enough that I'll be able to post this on the internet and people across the world can listen to this. And I know I have listeners sometimes all over. I don't know why they listen, but they do. And that's great.
That's not very great salesmanship.
Right, I know, sorry.
Deposits being made in their bank account.
Yeah, right. Thank you for downloading the show. Okay, so without any further ado, Randy, you ready? We're going to start the show. It's 12 and Up, Season 8, Episode 11, The Live Show, with your host, Jonathan Malone, and guest hosts, Paul Robeson Ford, Nikita McAllister, and Dan Birdwell. You can clap. 12 and Up is a podcast about Christian faith, Christian faith and culture in the modern age. Your host, Jonathan Malone, is the pastor of First Baptist Church of East Greenwich. Paul Robeson Ford is the pastor of the Union Baptist Church in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and the director of the Boston's Workers Alliance. Nikita McAllister is the pastor of Bethany Baptist in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and on staff with American Baptist Churches of Rhode Island. And Dan Birdwell, who's also known as, he has a number of aliases here, he's also known as Handsome Dan, Dansome Birdwell, and Noted Bad Boy Dan Birdwell. He works in he's the graduate program coordinator with the history department at Harvard, and one of the hosts of the Near Mint Comic Show podcast. 10 seconds, all right. We have 2 sponsors. I'm going to say the sponsors even though the music's already stopped. This podcast is brought to you by First Baptist Church of East Greenwich. It's a great place to grow, especially after you try the cooking. You will grow. How you grow is... And the philosophy of Alfred North Whitehead. Live well, live better, and eat good food. Yeah, there's like one person like, oh, Whitehead. Remember, hey. That was for Paul. He knows Whitehead. Nikita, you should know Whitehead. You went to BU. Yeah, they breathe Whitehead there. All right, and we're back. All right, so for folks who don't know, who haven't figured all this out yet, we have at least 2 people who work out of state, but all of you live here in Rhode Island. I was very careful to make sure all of our guests were actual Rhode Island residents. I thought that's really important so we didn't have to pay any tolls or anything like that. So Nikita, you're the pastor at Bethany Baptist?
Yes, sir.
In Pawtucket?
Yes, sir.
Where's Pawtucket?
Pawtucket's in Rhode Island.
No, that's near North Providence, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, what time is your worship service?
My worship service is at 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock?
Yes, sir.
On Sundays?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I like how you're formal. That's nice. I want my folks to note that.
Starting a new trend.
Yeah, but if I should be so lucky.
I'm going to break the trend.
Yeah, right. And Nikita, you work also with the American Baptist Churches of Rhode Island.
Yes.
What do you do with them?
I am now the Associate Executive for Administration, so I work with the personnel, I work with property, we have 308 beautiful acres. So we're looking forward to more campers coming again this summer. And we periodically, year-round, have people come and use the property for retreats.
So this is a Canonicus in Exeter.
Yes, sir.
So you drive all the way, you have to go from Pawtucket to Exeter, huh?
I usually go from Providence to Exeter.
Okay, so that's not so bad.
Not so bad.
Right.
Long drive in Rhode Island.
Jonathan, you've really acclimated to Rhode
I,
Island.
well, I try to know my people. Good, well, it's good to have you here, Nikita.
Thank you.
And your husband's here as well.
My husband is here. We will be married 17 years this year.
All right.
17 years, wow, yeah, nicely done. And he's the pastor of Calvary Baptist,
He is
right?
the pastor of Calvary Baptist.
Jabulani, what time is that service?
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
Sharp.
Sharp, wow. But just to make sure there's just the right amount of embarrassment that happens, I don't know on whose part, but your mother is here.
That's true,
Yeah,
yes.
there she is, yeah. So I guess we can't embarrass her because Jan is out there.
She and I have been together for 37 years.
Wow.
All right. Now, the 36 to 37.
Yeah. And you work in Cambridge.
I do. I work in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
So do you and Paul ever carpool?
No, I take the train.
No, we could take the commuter rail again.
We probably have, because I'm on that commuter rail a lot. My commute is so long
How long is it?
that it's so long that I've had ample time to think about what my name would be if I was on a Beatles-themed roller derby team. That's
All right, wait, but first I want to repeat that. So everyone heard, a Beatles-themed roller derby team.
right. I'd be
now we're ready.
Brawl McCartney. Or Ringo starting something. Or George Havoc son.
A long, winding road.
I don't think we have a lot of roller derby fans out there that really get the joke. We are humans, we do get angry about things, and it's about just anything. Now, since we have a panel, I'm not going to be doing Riley that stuff just in case. My job today is really to manage the guests, to keep things moving. So I'm going to start with Dan.
Okay.
With your round. I know you have two.
I have two, and I'm not normally a Riley kind of person. Because lay people, unlike pastors, lay people don't get angry.
Let's talk about flowers in church.
So, my Rilage is, there are two parts, and one of them is very short, and this is really more of a public service announcement. I've lived in Tampa, Chicago, Boston, and Providence. And Providence is the only place that I've ever lived where apparently the drivers did not get the memo that you stop for people in crosswalks. I don't know what it is. I have been standing there in the rain with a 6-month-old strapped to my chest and holding a 3-year-old's hand, and people will just drive by. And they give you the dirtiest looks if you walk out into the street where they're supposed to be stopping. So this is really I know you probably have a pretty big Rhode Island audience. I just want to get this out to everybody. Stop for people in the crosswalks.
What Dan doesn't know is that I follow him around in my car. And whenever I see him walking around, I just try to always just drive right in front of him. It's just me. I'm the only one. But he thinks it's
boy, that whole no swearing thing is getting hard. So they range in age from 20 to early 40s probably, but most of them are in their early 20s. And I got into a heated, I don't think it was heated.
Sure, let's say heated.
A discussion with someone about young people today. And it kind of, I want to read a quote for everybody. I did some research.
Oh, boy.
Wow! You're making the other case.
Yeah. No, I just...
I'm going to give my
All right, let's hear this quote.
The children now love luxury. They have bad manners, contempt for authority. They show disrespect for elders and love chatter in place of exercise. Children are now tyrants, not the servants of their household. They no longer rise when elders enter the room. They contradict their parents. They chatter before a company, gobble up dainties at the table, cross their legs. There who is inclined to complain about young people, you're not doing anything particularly new. If you liked the pop music today, that would mean they were making pop music wrong, not really for you, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, so it's kind of creepy if
music,
you're like in your
yeah,
sex-
music hasn't gotten any worse. The good music they're making today will still be remembered in 30 years, and the bad music they were making 30 years ago, no. You know, this person was talking to me about the early 90s, and he was like, music was just so much better in the early 90s, and I said to him, you know, I seem to recall Ace of Base being the bass band. Yeah, and nobody remembers that. All we talk about is the stuff people remember. So just, if you are inclined to complain about people younger than you, just remember that your parents were complaining about you.
Raised old school. So
You know-
you do keep some perspective.
Just this morning, I was talking to my 12-year-old about NWA.
Yes.
Because you know, I'm sort of...
As one does.
It comes up. But I don't remember. But I said, you know, Dr. Dre. He says, the actor? He's like, no, I think I said Ice Cube, and that was when he also said Ice Cube. He said, the actor Ice Cube? I said, well, he had a little stint with the music industry
That's
as
right.
well. But yeah, you were saying that, yeah, we'll refer to them.
Yeah, I mean, so I think the perspective is very important to keep. You know, the one thing that I would say that I have certainly been reflective about during this period is just as we look at the race for the White House, and I'm a political news junkie. You know, so they've called Hillary for Nevada, so she's won the Nevada caucus.
Oh, they called that?
They called that early on.
You are getting this, and so this is for, live,
breaking news.
and for the internet audience that's listening
Wow.
in a month from now,
That's
Hillary won Nevada. I want you to know that.
breaking news.
Wow.
But you know, I'm a political news junkie, and so I've been watching all the Republican debates and watching all the Democratic debates, and it's just extraordinary to me. And I will say this, particularly on the Republican side, how much of an obtuseness there is from folks who are pandering to, you know, the Christian evangelical vote and all this obtuseness in the policies they put forward and the things they argue over, to the actual concerns that Jesus Christ had for the least of these. We talked about it now, about the actual concerns that he had for the naked, the hungry, the sick, and those in prison. It's just amazing to me to listen to the tone deafness, from those who want to build walls, to those who want to carpet bomb other people around the world, you know, to those who want to just lock everybody up and fight back against Black Lives Matter, whatever the case might be. And it's really been extraordinary to me. And it's why I did come out on Facebook a few weeks ago, and he's going to get a big bump in New England because I endorsed him. I did endorse Bernie Sanders.
Oh my gosh. And that's going to be a huge bump, yeah.
He's going to win all of New England.
How many electoral votes is that in total?
It's like 15 electoral votes.
Okay, that's
5 of them are in Maine. But,
Yeah.
no, you know, I think that it's really extraordinary to me to always just see that inconsistency. And it's most bald when we get into these
balance that we have.
Just the basics. The points matter, the points matter.
They definitely matter. So that idea of, there's something about this season that when people are really trying to, pander's probably the best word that we have. And you wish people would just, it'd be better if Trump got up here and said, look, I grew up going to church a little bit, but not a lot. It's just not something that I know much about, but I'm willing to learn. Well, imagine if you said that. I'm willing
Would
to
Donald
learn.
Trump say anything like that?
Oh, yeah, that's a whole other hypothetical counterfactual. That's what that is. Okay. Nikita. I've heard about your anger, so I'm ready.
Have you?
Yeah, Javelani and I get together every now and again. No, I'm
Actually,
kidding.
this is actually difficult for me, and I give an illustration of what I mean.
Okay.
I grew up as an athlete, so I used to play basketball, ran track, and all that. All city, all state kind of thing. And my high school coach would have conversations with my mother, like, I cannot get Nikita angry. Like, she needs to get angry. She needs to be competitive and, really get mean and growl. And every time she's like, growl, I just bust out laughing. Anger is nothing that I actually, reside well with. So in that regard, I was like, okay, how do I answer that question? What do you really get angry about? And I'm like, Chabalani, what do I get angry about? And he's like, well, you know, they really have to do something really, 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 really bad in order to make you angry. So,
Okay.
in all honesty, I just admit that, you know, that's
Well, how about
hard for
annoyed?
me. So things that will get my goat.
Okay,
So
good.
things that may get my goat. I think you kind of mentioned it in terms of just the disparity that we have in our country and how people talk about that. And, you know, from the standpoint of the new within, I would say, minority culture, Black Lives Matter. When people recount that with all lives matter, I think to me that is an attempt to sausage the issue and the critical way of listening to other people and the otherness. And when we just sugarcoat it to say, well, everybody matters, it makes it a lot easier for people not to do the introspection, to really hear the heart and the minds of people who are being hurt. So that gets my goat.
So like something like that, for folks, when you hear something like Black Lives Matter, and your reaction is like, oh geez, doesn't every life matter? So what is it about that phrase, Black Lives Matter, that makes you feel like you really need to say it? And then to say, tell me about that. Help me understand, you know, if folks are having a hard time, if they're feeling stuck,
Right.
And feel that reaction to say all lives matter.
Right.
So to then engage a little bit more, think about it more. Don't go right to the knee-jerk slogan that responds.
Right.
That's good. See, you can get angry. I didn't even have to bring up your children.
Oh, they don't make me angry. Oh, just kidding.
Yeah, right. Yeah. If you're ever at a loss for something to be angry about, think of your children.
Leave our kids out. Go after my record. I voted for, but you leave my kids out.
I'm just speaking as a parent, that's all. Well, good. I think that's, so we have complaining about young people. Just, it's old and tired, so don't do it anymore.
Old people are old and tired.
I didn't say that. I know my audience, I did not say that.
Well, I didn't say anything Jonathan.
Oh boy.
I know, this is tough. Yeah, so I'm tired of people complaining about how young people are.
Everybody's cool, man.
Everybody's cool. Except for the politicians that pander.
That's correct.
They're not.
That's a professional style transition.
Do you like that?
Yeah.
And those who ignore the disparity and try to just, you know, lump the struggles of people into easy slogans, or respond to it with easy slogans. So, yeah, so good mileage. Randy, did we have the bump music for the main topic?
Very slow music.
Yeah, very slow.
It's much better at normal speed.
Everything is.
That commuter rail must take forever for you. Like, why won't they go in 1.5 times? So yeah, and Paul asked where the music comes from. Yeah, that music was, when the earlier incarnation of the show I did with Charlie Eastman, and he's the pastor of Franklin Federated Church in Franklin, Massachusetts, home of the first library.
That's true.
Yeah, I wouldn't say if it wasn't true. And so he did the music for that.
At least he doesn't live in Salem, home of the first witchcraft.
Yeah, Salem's their t-shirts just aren't as fun. So, for the topic, the secret of happiness, and I want to make sure you all feel free to engage each other as we go through, but we'll go down the line to start. But this came from one of my parishioners, who's not here, one of them, but another one is, said that, yeah, I'm not going to say any names, but no. Saw something on the Today Show, which I never watched because I listen to NPR. That's who I am. And I guess they were interviewing people about what is this.
On the other shows that we've done together. And of course, the truth is that the lasting things of life are not the things that are promoted to us through popular culture, through TV, through most mainstream music, through the commercials that we see, because those things tend to focus on the material things. You know, whether it's driving the Lincoln the latest Lincoln, the feeling stays with you, as Matthew McConaughey would say.
What about, but probably being Matthew McConaughey is the secret of happiness.
Yeah, right, being Matthew McConaughey is the secret of happiness.
He's happy with himself.
Yeah, exactly right. The feeling stays with you, right? You know, most of what is kind of blared out to us and really kind of drubbed into our heads, I mean, when you think about the psychology of marketing, of course, are the things that are not the lasting things. They are the things that ultimately don't matter. They are the things that, as I would say, you can't take with you when you die. You know, so you really have to ask yourself about exactly how much of your life you're going to invest in it.